Hello mga ka-senior. Bago pa nagkaroon ng Makati or Ortigas or DGC, there was Escolta. Nandito tayo ngayon sa Escolta. This used to be the premier street in the Philippines. Naandito yung mga malalaking bangko, mga first class movie houses, mga dekalibreng shopping stores. So ngayon, babalikan natin ang Escolta at alamin na natin kung anong nangyari sa Escolta. Kaya samahan nyo ako as we explore, as we take this nostalgic trip dito sa Escolta. Let's go!
Good morning, magandang umaga.
Morning!
Well, this side, good morning. Your guide for today's walk. This activity is brought to you by Renacimiento, Manila, and the Heritage Collective. So maybe through Renacimiento, Manila, that's where you registered for this activity, right? And then the Heritage Collective is my personal brand. It's actually a consultancy firm related to projects, ventures, and experiences related to for the love of Philippine heritage. That's my tagline. So we'll start here at First United Building. This is the building up here, and then we'll go around for around 3 hours, and we have stops as well. And then we'll also end up here, right at this building. So we're gonna explore the whole Escolta street and the surrounding neighborhood. Okay. So first disclaimer: we are not historians. Is that okay? Yes or no? Okay, I'm saying this at the onset because maybe some of you would claim that, all these things that Stephen said and some of my friends would really something that's the actual historical basis of things. We will leave it to the historians who, like Ambe Ocampo or Xiao Junbo, maybe you know them. My motivation here, although I'm not a historian, my work as a professional is a cultural worker, and again, I mentioned earlier, heritage consultant. Here in Escolta, some few years back, we did some research on the historical significance of these buildings around. So, like an option of all these facts that we've learned through our research, that's what we're trying to share during this tour. So, is that okay? Okay. Ano bang kwento sa Escolta? Just basic facts. In terms of its length, it's a mere 1.6 kilometer. Basically, like, can go from here to there like 5 minutes. Well, 20 de visita. Well, nowadays you won't see that. There's actually a name for that. That's called 20 de visita. Maybe that's of visitors, I don't know. We're not yet sure about the origin of this 20 de visita name. But you have a bridge there. When you cross that bridge, that's another district already. That's Santa Cruz. And then this side, we are still part of Binondo. But Escolta, parang it has somehow its own identity. Why? It's more cosmopolitan in nature because of the many stories here. And I'll explain more of that later. It's more cosmopolitan in contrast with the usual things in Binondo, which is more Chinese and stuff like that. Okay? So yeah, that's Puente de Visita. And then the picture here, But so we're highlighting all these buildings around because this is like a photo, a glimpse of what happened before. This is 1945, and then this was during the destruction of Manila in February, particularly 1945, during the Battle of Manila, or Battle for the Liberation of Manila, the longer term. Okay, so this is the building here, Regina Building, and then this building is the First United Building. Original name of First United Building is Perez Samanilo Building. So this is a diorama featured in the Ayala Museum. Have you guys been there? Show of hands who's been to Ayala Museum. So there's a part there featuring actually the Escolta Street and basically giving you a glimpse of its origin. Showing here is like basically the street where in the past, of course, wooden houses or wooden structures, shop houses at that. And then you'll see there's like a horse carriage or a horse entourage passing through the street. So what are these horse carriages? And you see some people around. Okay, so this is basically the entourage or the advance party of the Spanish Governor General passing through Escolta. Coming from his office in Intramuros, have you guys been to Intramuros? Intramuros basically his office, the center of Manila, the center of the Philippines, because that used to be the only Manila, and these other parts are not Manila. The only Manila before is Intramuros. That's where the offices are. So the Spanish Governor General would come from there and then pass all the way here, going to his residence. Saan ba ang bahay ng mga president? Malacanang. So parang basically, from his office all the way back to his residence to Malacanang, this is where the Governor General would pass by. And then the people around would shout when they see the advance party, "Big Wang Wang," parang the Wang Wang right now. Oh, may advance party, Big Wang. Ito no, because there's an advance party. Okay, they would shout, "Escortar, escortar, escortar, escortar." What does that mean? These are the escorts of the Governor General, like the advance party, to signify that the Spanish Governor General is coming over, and of course maybe to give some way and to tell the people that there's a VIP coming over. So that's the etymology of escorta. That's the official or the more acceptable theory of that. At this point, please approach. Say hi. Maybe you would know more his father. Have you heard of Juan Luna? Yes, Juan Luna. Have you been to National Museum, Escolarium, that big painting in the National Museum? So that's his father. But it runs in the blood, the artistry. Basically, Juan Luna became a painter, and his son, as a parang artist, he became an architect. So ito yung kumbaga basically his brainchild or his business. In fact, when he studied in France, and then he brought back here the western style of architecture. So would you be able, by the way, also, it's actually a movement in general. But in terms of style of architecture, it would be characterized by way of, you see more of lines, geometric lines. These are the things that you'll see around Art Deco buildings. Geometric lines. In this case, like the half part of an octagonal shaping. So basically like that. And then some things in nature, like you see in the ornaments here, more like a floral or a plant inspired ornamentations. Okay, welcome to the 5th floor of the First United Building. Pre-pandemic days, itong part na to ng building would be more or less functioning as like a creative in nature. Why? Some of the office spaces here are being used as, let's say, here in the middle, that's a photography studio, by the way. So at the end of this itong hallway, it's an architectural firm. And then that 502 is now functioning as a co-working space. We heard of a co-working space. And then dati dito sa 501, although umalis sila, dati may fashion studio, dun sa tail end, merong another photography studio. So they're trying to parang to inject new things here in Escolta through this building, and then more on the creative side of things. Again, so let me introduce you first. Ito yung side na to. I'll introduce you to the family who owns this building. Ang family name nila is Syvel. So maybe parang absorb Chinese sila, or ethnic Chinese here in the Philippines. So let me introduce you first here. Take a look. This guy his name is Syvel. He's the patriarch. Kumbaga, the rest of the family members, they embrace the actual name of the guy, and that's the surname na. So kasama ni Mr. Syvel is Roberto Syvel, the current parang the next in line na kumbaga yung administrator of this building. So just say yes or no kung kilala niyo yung mga tao ito. Kung kilala niyo pa sila, dito malalaman ko ng age. Tingnan natin. Okay, first of all, baka may nakita kayong Dolphy sa babang stand. Bakit na siya? Kasi nag-office siya dito. Kilala niyo si Dolphy?
Yes!
Okay naman. Yung office niya actually yan dun sa tulog. So yung fire extinguisher, that office there. It's now an architectural firm. So that's Dolphy. Next, Nora Honor.
Yes!
Nora Honor actually had her office here. She's now a national artist for film like that. And she started somehow here. Next, Gabi Concepcion. Ay, mas tumida. Next, Lito Lapi.
Yes!
Ayun. Diba? So, at least before, kilala niyo pa pala lahat. So, etong next na papasukin natin is actually, you can see here, the office of Nora Honor. Itong room na to. And it's now functioning as a co-working space. So, shall we all enter? Again, kung among you are first time. Okay, so itong space ito actually, ginagamit siya for many things. In fact, yesterday there was a workshop here. So this, please come. Welcome. The first working community, co-working community. You can like them in Facebook, in Instagram. They have pages there. And if you want to know the rates of this, this co-working space, you can take a look. So, did you know that this space is actually operating 24/7? So just in case for some of you who are, you need to study for your board exam, which I know I have a friend who already passed it, for the medical doctor, which I know you, for the board exam, for the doctor, so they also making memories here. Again, the layer that used to be Nora Honor's space is now functioning as a co-working space. Yeah, of course. Important buildings from this vantage point. This building is again designed by Andres Cuyotica. It's a big flat, anyway, size. Supposed to be something now. Okay, explain ko to see some issues in terms of heritage that some buildings are being demolished para in favor of some high-rise developments. That's kasi if ever this property will be developed, you'll see a high-rise here, and then you won't see anymore the vista of the bell tower of the church, and then the rest of Santa Cruz district of this. You need that parking lot. This property. part of the work building. And I'll explain the story of work building. The buildings here at this block, but not the oldest in Escolta. I'll take the oldest later. This 1919 building, the Burke building, ang trivia dyan, even way back during Spanish colonial period, the owners were still the Burke, even way back in Spanish colonial period. This is where the very first elevator in the Philippines was located. So in terms of, we have the bragging right. Actually, when you see the entrance at the side part of the entrance, we have a bragging rights like the black marker. We have the first elevator in the Philippines.
So ladies room, dito siguro nagsisiyar si Nora.
Yung mga isa halal, yung mga food packaging, halal certification, yan yung formatted, and you actually always sa And then over here, let me take you naman on the other buildings here is the Renacimiento building. Ito dati, you guys, ito yung itsura niya before. It originally used to be called Rojas Building in 1915. So, imagine yung building, only the half of this building, or yung parang earlier version, kalahati lang ng block na to, over at this side. And then that's the original parang dome of the building. Eventually, in 1930s, when they expanded, the dome that you see from upstairs earlier, it was only an expansion in 1930. So 1915, this side, yun yung kalahati, 1938, that addition. That's why you'll see here in this photo, 1915, meron pa siyang some few floors, tapos nung 1938, as you can see here, nagdagan ng additional floor. Kasi yung fourth floor, and then the other half, basically, yun yung addition ng buong Rahina build. It's named after the first, again, one of the first, pero not necessarily related to Escolta, pero the first printer. Not the printer electronic HP printer, the printer with the printing blocks, basically. That's Tomas Pinpin for you. So it's named after him, itong street na to, Tomas Pinpin. Corner Escolta. I'll be just pointing out two landmarks here. First, this one first. Peterson building, and next later, the Tibidad. And taking a look at the building called Peterson building. It was built in the late 1940s, already after the war. But in terms of its style, you could see lines on the Art Deco side, like geometric shapes, especially at the border, yung three parang vertical lines on the top of the building. Yung Salon de Pertier is actually a photography studio before. So, think film photography before. Now you have ano ba yun? Dark room. Ano ba yung word doon? So, di ba? So, kung dati may mga Adobe Photoshop na tayo. Before, may mga Lightroom and stuff. Pero the actual ones, di ba? So, photography studio at that. 1800s, imagine. In 1897, we introduced here the first moving picture. What is that all about? It's basically cinema in the Philippines. Imagine that site is actually the ground zero of Philippine cinema.
What was it like before?
And it used to be like a makeshift photography studio before. And then imagine the moving pictures before were silent films without any sounds. Like located here, the Insurance Commission, a government agency, and the Philippine Education Company, PECO, They are book distributors. Calvo building, not Calvo, it's Calvo. Calvo. Okay, Calvo building. So yun yung family name ng owner of the building, Don Angel Calvo. So it was built in 1938. Let me introduce you to the architect of this building. His name is Fernando Ocampo. Actually, the additions na ginawa dun sa Regina building, that's actually his work, Fernando Ocampo. And then one of his major works here is this one, Calvo building. Maybe outside Escolta, you would know maybe you'll be aware of some of his works. One of the major ones is no less than the Manila Cathedral in Intramuros. It's actually a work by Fernando Ocampo. So in terms of style, it's also, again, ito yung word niya. Yeah, in terms of pronunciation. Yeah. Yung spelling. Bozart, Uza, or Buick's Arts, kung gusto nyo sa English. Buick's Arts po. O Tagalog style, Buick's Arts. Okay. Take a look at the arc window. The arc window. Cut it in half, basically, parang tayo sa Glenn Content. Sa gitna, punta kayo dun sa gitnang part, dun sa upper part ng pinaka-gitna. And then from that gitnang part to upper part, sa middle part ng upper part ng arc window, move a bit up, you'll see a small head. Small head. Sino yung nakakita na? Sino yung nabuksan yung third eye nila? Sa maliit na head na yan. Say, show of hands, sino yung nakakita dun sa head? Yun. So again, may arc na window, dun sa ibabaw ng arc na yun, move a little bit up, you'll see a small head. We're allotted for an art gallery. So we'll check out first the in terms of Escolta, more or less, nature ng mga offices here in Escolta would be first, forwarding companies. And then second, customs group, very specific for National Museum. Ito, take a look, this is the which used to be the first cinema again, the site of that. This is because although we have lost a lot of things already during the war, and yet fast forward today, we are not giving that much appreciation and all these things for our heritage buildings. So as if things are getting worse as compared to what happened during the war. So I hope all these things we should value because this talks about our history and all the things, these are silent witnesses of our past. Take a look at all these buildings that are now gone and think about the still existing buildings which could still tell more of the story of the Filipino people and the Manileños here. So imagine that. Some of these got piled up in their ancestral house in Quiapo. Tapos ito na yung nag-pile up. Some of them, eventually, one of the family members took time to actually collect talaga all newspapers. His name is Sir Bobby Teotico. So sometimes he sells also some of his collections, ganun mga antique and vintage. Ilan sa mga railroad tracks na yun, these ones.
Oh.
So sinama na lang nila dito, sinakita lang right in front of their Military Roadworks kasi nilagay natin sa museum namin. So these are some of your relics from the past, our glorious past na may Tranvia tayo in Manila. So yun. It actually was the most expensive building built during that time in the 1960s. So in fact, it became like the de facto central bank here because this is where people will actually get their gold cash for their businesses and all that. Which is why even after the war, Escolta still became the hit place before because for commercial purposes and other related things in relation to the Philippine National Bank because it used to be here. And then in the 1990s, that became also the decline of Escolta when the Philippine National Bank moved out from Escolta and transferred to the financial center in Macapagal in Pasay City. So it's like a decline. Like the building here, it became it was repurposed as a city college of Manila. So parang there became like a transition in terms of the population here, the daytime population, from the commercial or the office people who can afford quite much, and then down to the students who couldn't afford that much because they only have baon every single day. So for that somehow give you a glimpse of when the decline of Escolta happened in the 1990s, starting from the place days, and then that became the decline in 1990s. And to some of you who are familiar with history, this is called the Crystal Archive, also designed by the same architect of First United building and the other buildings I mentioned down the road. It's Andres Luna. In fact, it's like his brainchild or his dream project. Now, he invested many things on this one, such that during the war, when everything got devastated, all his fortunes also got lost along with the decline of the destruction of this building. Okay, this building was built in 1935. It's called the Capitol Theater. Yeah, you can take a look at that. It's a couple of another digital rendering by Renacimiento Manila, one of its members. And then take a look at these two things. I'll say things here. They're actually muses. Women figures. Okay? The one on the left is the muse of cinema, and on the right is the muse of music. Because I can perhaps I could assume that apart from being a movie house, it also alternatively function as a concert venue. So more or less like that. This building was designed by a national artist. When you say a national artist, he really like garnered some prestige and prominence, and he designed a lot of things that exemplifies the Filipino style. So in fact, which is why he became a national artist. His name is Juan Nakpil. Juan Nakpil. National Artist for Architecture, Juan Nakpil. This is the building here behind us. Talking about the first, I mentioned many firsts in Escolta. This is actually the first, again, the first reinforced concrete building, not just here in Manila, but the whole of the Philippines. This small building right here, this all-set building. And then, as you can see, it's kind of different in terms of this original photo. Why? Because there's a cladding already, which was added in the post-war days. So the classical lines here, you cannot see it anymore because there's another cladding in the post-war days. So further down the road, again in the 1940s, they added they call it mosaic tiles. Mosaic tiles. And this building is the Hamilton fashion. So if you have the mosaic tiles and then all that, parang people would refer to that as the Hamilton fashion, not the Olsen in the past, the 1940s. On dog parade, some creative protest, tinanggal yung barricade. And then now, it's declared as an important cultural property by the National Heritage Agency. So that's part of the things that we do, creative activities. Kasi ito yung first headquarters niya. First National City Bank is now Citibank. So again, you'll see Citibank. Actually, before dito is Sun Life. So financial in nature, like insurance companies, banks, and things in between. Ito yung nature ng part na to. This is still Escolta in terms of the neighborhood. And as I mentioned, what is supposed to be designated as a heritage zone, still part of what is considered Escolta neighborhood or Escolta heritage zone. So we're still gonna explore it. Let's go. The original name of that building was Green Chapel. Reason why? The chapel. First, it became the first also clock tower here. Now before you can take a look at the rounded part under the dome of the building, that used to be where clocks are located. So you can see. Alright? Art Deco, Neoclassical, but this one is very different. I'll introduce you to the style of architecture called Art Nouveau. Have you heard of that? Nouveau, or Nouveau, whatever, whichever you would like to pronounce it. Art Nouveau. Kasi it's characterized by things in nature. I would put it that way. Kasi usually it's very curvish. As you can see, the balconies are very curvish in terms of its size. Pag-ilan na third week. Gawin natin dito is like a walkthrough on this side. Of course, dito, Escolta, but the parallel part here is the riverside. Na kumbaga, we'd like to point out na kaya nag-exist ang maraming parang naging cradle of civilization because of the river. Parang even in other countries, di ba, you have the Seine in Paris, in London you have Thames River, and then other cradle of civilization existing by the river. And we have Manila, it's where we have what river is this? Pasig River. So, very historical. Although I know maraming environmental issues and we'll talk more about that in a bit. But now, we'll just try to enjoy itong bagong ginawang walkway or plaza as they say here. It's called Plaza Yuchenko. So, it's a riverside esplanade na we'll try to enjoy kasi yung mga plants din dito also are native trees and things like that. So, at least it's something good to see by the river, not always the connotation na when you see the river, it's mabaho and all these things. So, able to capture more or less the important parts of the Escolta neighborhood. For sure, we have many things na we've missed out and we can I think dig deeper into that when we talk further, maybe on a personal level. You can talk to me if you want to know more about these things. But at least, again, final glimpse of Escolta through these the twin sentinels, the Regina and the Percy Island. It's like the iconic one. And then, I would like you to take a look. There's a marker, that color green marker on that side. It's actually a historical marker dedicated to a certain historical personality. That Lapida. Lapida. Pero ang pangalan niyan, si Patricio Mariano, is actually a literary person whose works, one of which would be the first translation in Filipino of Noli Me Tangere and El Philippines Times. This part of the Chinatown area, which is Binondo, and I hope you enjoyed a lot, you've learned a lot of things. If not a lot, at least something in the lahat of very least. On that note, again, my name is Syvel from the Heritage Collective. Thank you so much for joining our activity. And again, please greet the person next to you, Kyung-hee, Wansai.
Happy New Year!
Thank you so much. And then, lastly, say hi to Rain again for your souvenir items featuring Escolta. And I guess, Jeff has something to say.
Wala naman nakahalos. Maraming salamat sa pagpunta. I see familiar faces na nakasama na namin mula doon sa ilang walks this month. Guys, sir. Kurang na may
Thank you so much.
passport dito.
May Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Si Ma'am na. Thank you.
Thank you.
Walks, no? With that, we end this tour. Muli, maraming salamat sa pagpunta. Sa lagi-lagi, mabuhay ang Maynila. No?
Hello again, katatapos lang ng ating tour sa pag-ikot natin dito sa Escolta. Ang dami nating nalaman bago tungkol sa Escolta. Ang dami palang sekretong tinatago ito. Ang daming magagandang story about the buildings na mga pinasok natin. And then finally, napasok din natin ang First United Building. Nakita natin yung mga dating ginamit ni na Nora Honor, ni na Dolphy na mga studios nung araw. Napaka-importante pala dahil ito pala yung pinaka best locations dati dahil marami sa mga movie houses, sa mga movie production na nandito. And then nakita rin natin ang Calvo Building at ang dami rin natin natutunan sa loob, yung mga old newspaper, mga old movie posters, mga battles at marami pang iba. So I guess maganda pa rin balik-balikan ng Escolta, matrace yung ang napakagandang past niya, yung heritage niya. Ang dami pa rin building na nakatayo pero marami na rin building na tinibag na katulad ng Capitol Building na nakita natin sinisira na. Hopefully hindi na siya magpatuloy at ma-preserve pa rin siya. In the meantime, I guess I'd like to invite you if you have time to really visit the Escolta. Nandun pa rin yung old glory niya, although nahimpla siya at malinis. So I guess I'd like to take this opportunity for you to really appreciate kung ano yung mga meron tayo, yung mga natatangin nating mga heritage buildings and structures. Sana ma-preserve pa rin ito. So again, thank you very much for watching. Travel while you can. And until our next vlog, see you soon.
Selfie. Yeah.
Picture taking kami. Sige, sir.
Okay, avoid dito.